I travel a lot for work. Late flights, unfamiliar cities, rides to hotels at odd hours. So yeah, I've taken 100 Ubers. But there's one ride I'll never forget. Because halfway through it, I realized the driver didn't think I could hear him. I had just landed in a small town after midnight, dead tired, barely functioning. I ordered an Uber to my hotel. Driver's name was Tony. 5 stars. Over 1,500 rides. Older guy, bald head, glasses. Looked normal. He greeted me with a smile and said, "Long day." I just nodded, too tired to talk. I put my bag in the back seat, climbed in, and leaned against the window. I must have closed my eyes for a second, but I wasn't asleep, just very still. And that's when he started talking to himself. At first, I thought he was on the phone, but there was no Bluetooth call active. No phone visible on the dash. He whispered, "This one's quiet. Always better when they're quiet." I froze. I kept my breathing slow, eyes half closed. He thought I was asleep. He chuckled softly and muttered, "Won't even see it coming." I heard a metallic noise, like a knife hitting metal, followed by a soft zip, like a bag being opened. I stayed completely still. My heart was hammering, but I didn't flinch. I opened my phone under my jacket. No signal. I opened Google Maps. He was not taking the highway. He whispered again. "Nice spot up near the river. Quiet. Easy cleanup." I knew I had 2 options. Jump out while the car is moving, or wait for him to stop and hope I'm faster. That's when he turned around, smiling. "Hey," he said, "you awake?" I slowly opened my eyes. Forced a smile. Yeah, just tired." He stared at me too long, like he was thinking. Then he turned back to the wheel and said, "We're almost there." We pulled off the road into a dark forested area. I could see the river between the trees. He reached into the passenger seat. I didn't wait. I kicked the back door open and ran. I sprinted through mud, over branches, into the trees. I didn't stop until I saw the lights of a diner off the main road. I burst through the door, gasping for breath. The cook called 911, but by the time the cops showed up, the car was gone. No trace. The Uber app said ride canceled. I emailed Uber, reported the driver. They said no such driver existed. No one named Tony. No trip logged. I even showed them a screen recording I took of the map while it was happening. They said it must be a glitch. But sometimes, late at night, I still get a notification. Tony is nearby, ready to pick you up. Some drivers aren't there to drop you off. Some of them pick people up for other reasons. Stay alert. Stay alive. I never thought I'd end up on the news. But that night, I was almost the reason someone else will be watching the headlines the next morning. Because sometimes the danger doesn't come from the shadows. It comes from behind the wheel. It was around 11:45 p.m. I had just left a friend's place after a movie night and ordered an Uber to head home, about a 25-minute drive. The driver's name was Marcus, 4.9 stars, over 600 rides. Seemed fine. He pulled up in a gray Toyota Camry. Clean, well-kept, a man in his mid-40s. Calm, quiet, wore a cap and smelled of cheap cologne. He confirmed my name. I confirmed his. I got in. At first, it was uneventful. I sat back, scrolled through my phone, and half listened to the soft jazz playing from the radio. About 10 minutes in, I noticed something odd. The route looked different. We were going through unfamiliar streets, industrial areas, warehouses, and construction zones. I leaned forward and said, "Hey, isn't the highway faster?" He smiled in the mirror and said, "Yeah, but there's traffic at this hour. This way's quicker." I checked Google Maps on my phone. There was no traffic. In fact, his route wasn't even on the map. "Can you take the usual route, please?" I asked. He didn't respond, just kept driving. I started recording a video on my phone quietly, just in case. I texted my location to my roommate. "Something's off with this driver. Track me." We pulled into a side road I didn't recognize. No lights, no people, just a dead end behind an old warehouse. He stopped the car, turned off the engine, and said nothing. I froze. "Why are we stopping?" I asked, trying to sound calm. He turned to me slowly and said something I'll never forget. "You're not where you think you are." That's when I noticed a second man standing outside the warehouse, watching us, waiting. I unlocked the door manually and ran. I didn't even look back. Just sprinted down the road with everything I had. I saw headlights in the distance, another car. I ran into the road, waving like a maniac. It stopped. A couple in their 30s let me in and called the police. The cops showed up 10 minutes later. Marcus and the man outside were gone, but they found zip ties, duct tape, and a burner phone in the warehouse. The license plate on Marcus' car? Stolen. His real identity is still unknown. Uber couldn't trace the ride because it had been spoofed using a cloned app. They said it wasn't a real ride in the system. But I was there, in that car, on that road. And if I hadn't trusted my gut, I might never have come back. Be aware. Always check the license plate. Always share your location. And if something feels wrong, it probably is. I've never believed in urban legends. But after what happened to me that night, I no longer take rides from strangers. Not even if they drive an Uber. It was past midnight. My train got canceled, and I was stranded in a quiet part of town. No taxis, no buses. Just empty streets and flickering streetlights. So, I did what anyone would do. I opened the Uber app. A car accepted within seconds. No profile photo. No license plate showing. Just a name, Johnny. Rating, 5.0 stars. Over 2,000 rides. I hesitated, but it was cold, and I was exhausted. A black sedan rolled up exactly 3 minutes later. The windows were tinted pitch black. I couldn't see the driver's face, but the door unlocked with a click, and something inside me said, "Get in." I sat in the back, and the car silently pulled away. No music, no conversation, not even a greeting, just silence. I leaned forward and said, "Thanks for picking me up." The driver didn't respond. Not a nod, not a word. I checked the app. No map, no route, no estimated time of arrival. Just the words, "Enjoy the ride." I started to feel sick, not just nauseous, wrong. Like I'd stepped into a place I wasn't meant to be. I looked out the window and realized we were no longer in the city. Just miles of trees, fog, and a winding road I didn't recognize. I asked, "Hey, where are we going?" The driver slowly turned his head. I swear to God, he had no face. Just smooth skin like something unfinished. But somehow, he was smiling. I yanked the door handle. Locked. I started screaming, pounding the glass, shouting at him to stop. That's when the car turned off the road. No GPS, no lights. Just darkness. We drove into the woods. He spoke for the first time. A whisper, like 1,000 voices layered together. "You should never have entered." My phone screen turned to static, and it showed photos of me. Sleeping, eating, walking to work. Photos I never took. I kicked the window until the glass cracked. I didn't care if I got hurt. I just needed out. I saw lights in the distance, at the gas station. I broke free and rolled onto the wet ground. The car didn't stop. It just vanished, like it was never there. I stumbled into the station, shaking and bleeding. The clerk looked at me, confused. "Where'd you come from? These roads have been closed for years." "I took an Uber," I gasped. He turned pale. "Son, no one's picked anyone up from here since the 2009 disappearances." I filed a police report. They found no Uber ride on my account. No Driver X. No trace of that car. But every night since, I get a notification. Your ride is arriving. If you ever see a driver with no profile photo, don't get in. Some rides take you places you can't come back from. Backhand index pointing right, subscribe to Echo and Ash Stories for more true horror stories. Stop sign, don't forget to check the rear view mirror. Someone might be watching.